All right. Well, let's see. Preparing to live stream. It's not there yet. All right. We are live on Facebook. And today I want to invite everyone who's out there to join in, sit down, have a cup of coffee, eat your lunch, and join us today. We have some really wonderful people. We have a great speaker today. And I wanted to just make sure that everyone knows what our meetings are all about. My name is Shelly Harrison, and I am the co-director along with Mark Mays, who's also here with us today. He's also one of our co-directors for the Orange County Inland Empire chapter of the National Veterans Chamber of Commerce. And we have our meetings every month, our leadership meetings, and they go for about an hour and 10, 15 minutes. And some of them do stream live. Today we're streaming live, and you're going to get to meet David Ray, and he'll be talking here in just a moment. And we're going to do some introductions from the team that we have here today. And we hope that you can stay with us the entire time, because we're going to keep it lively. We're going to, just make this, something that we want you to just really enjoy. And I'm going to right now turn it over to Mark. He's actually going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and then share a few comments with you. All right. So Mark, whenever you're ready.
Yes.
All right.
Let me crouch down. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
It's just such a privilege, to say the Pledge of Allegiance for our country, for this time, this weekend, you just think about all the things that have gone on, especially in this last year, and to just see the challenges, the tests, the trials that we've gone through with the country, and just the way we've divided and taken positions on things. And when we get under pressure like that, those things happen. But really, to know that the United States of America and that we are the core of this country, the unity will never be faded. So we'll go through these challenges, we'll go through these struggles, but we'll come back together. We'll come back to get better than we've ever been. And it's times like this weekend that we can reflect and think about the depth of the sacrifices that it takes to run this country, and for our military to support and keep us secure. Huge if you think about it.
Yeah.
So to all our veterans out there, all our memorial people that have given our lives, given their sacrifices for our freedom, I say thank you. And it is such a privilege to be a part of this group, to be able to share that and to empower the people around us for a greater good. So thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you, veterans.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was beautiful. And, and it is Military Appreciation Month. And, we have Dave here with us today. He is a veteran. And again, you'll meet him in just a moment. But we want to share with all of our veterans out there, whether you're active or in the reserves or wherever you happen to be within your journey as a military person. We salute you, and we just want you to know how much we appreciate you, just like Mark had said. So with that, I wanted to share an event that we're doing, and this is coming up on June 14th. A lot of people have heard about it already. We are doing an Athletes and Warriors golf tournament, and it's going to be held at the Pechanga. Journey at Pechanga is the name of the golf course, and it's beautiful. It is so beautiful. There's a bridge. There's just, the landscaping is spectacular. And what's really wonderful is that, number one, this is to help veteran entrepreneurship. So all the proceeds, it's a total fundraiser. And I want to give a few people a shout out. Dave DeRocher, who is a former Seattle Seahawks NFL pro football player alumni, he has arranged for actually with the Angels. So it's box seats, and there are 6 of them, and it is right behind home plate. And that's going to be something that we are going to be raffling off and doing a fundraiser to, once we give that out, it'll go to someone lucky that's going to win 6 tickets behind home plate, which is from what I understand, it's on TV quite a bit. So you can see the people that are there in those box seats. Aside from that, we have so many other great things going on. We have other NFL alumni that will be joining us. We have Walter Thurmond and Christian Okoye. And I know Travis Davis, who I interviewed on the Veterans Radio Show a couple of weeks ago. So Travis, we want to give you a shout out too, and I can't wait to meet you in person. But we really want to invite players to come out and join us for this event. It's a fundraiser, and it's going to help to really support not only veteran families, but also veteran entrepreneurship. And you'll hear, again, we have a veteran here today, like I'd mentioned, and he is an entrepreneur as well. And without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker today, who is David Ray. And as I mentioned, he is a veteran. He served in the Navy for 10 and a half years, and then in the reserves for 18 additional years. So again, we salute you, David, for your service.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It was an honor and a real privilege.
Yes. Well, we're privileged to have you here today and sharing. So Dave's goal, his passion is to empower you to be wildly successful and find meaning in your mission. He will help you discover your vision, design huge goals, and create transformational action plans for exceptional, important accomplishments. And I wanted to read a testimonial this is from a real estate investor. And this is what this real estate investor has to say about Dave. I really love Dave's weekly discussion topics. He always has just the right topic that I need to hear. He explains it so simply and gets to the heart of the issue. He gets off to a great week so I can be super successful. So we want to give Dave a shout out. This was from a real estate investor that Dave works with or has worked with. And
my friend Cindy. Yep.
Oh, okay. So so Dave, I'm going to put it on over to you, and we're going to have you do your presentation today for our live audience. And actually, you know what? Let me back up a little bit. We want to do introductions. I almost forgot about that. So if we could do introductions, that would be great. And Dave, do you want to start since we have you geared up, and then I'll introduce the other, or we'll have the other two introduce themselves.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you, Shelly. So Dave Ray with Mind Masters South Bay. Here in San Diego, California. And we are the Entrepreneurs Brainstorming Team. So my group basically is a mastermind. It's a weekly meeting, and I have 2 different groups that meet. And we help primarily home businesses and other micro businesses. So sole proprietors, sometimes you might have a mom and pop or a brother and sister, but basically 1 or 2 people running everything themselves, and sometimes maybe going a little crazy, wearing 12 different hats. And we bring some sanity to your daily operations and help you be more profitable and more successful and enjoy life as a business owner. So that's what Mind Masters is all about.
Awesome. And we'll hear from Dave in just a moment. And Renate, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Renate Cardoni, and I work with Shelly at Luminary Leaders. And I just want to echo what Shelly mentioned about the golf tournament. If you love to golf, we'd love to see you. Come on out on June 14th and play a round of golf and meet some fabulous athletes and warriors. We would love to see you there. And I just want to also thank all the military folks who have put their lives on the line for us, for our freedom. And I also want to thank the officers who put on male and female, who put on their uniforms on a daily basis to protect us. So I want to thank them also. So I hope to see you on June 14th. I have it on my Facebook page, and I also have it on LinkedIn. So please go take a look.
Awesome. Thank you, Renate. Very nicely said. Very nicely said. All right. And Mark, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Mark Mays. I'm the principal at Mays and Associates and the architect of High Five Priority Business Mapping. And it's my great privilege to be the co-director with Shelly for the National Veterans Chamber of Commerce. and just to cause and collaborate the greatness that's coming forth through that organization is really powerful, and such a privilege for me to be involved in that. So thank you so much. And again, looking forward to this Memorial Weekend where we can just kind of reflect and pull it all in and give thanks for our freedom. So thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. And my name is Shelly Harrison, and I, as Renate had said, my company is Luminary Leaders, and we are a speaker management and consulting company. And I also have podcast shows that I host. One is Speaker Central, and I just had a show drop this morning or at noon, and it's with Stephen Tako, who is a anti-bullying advocate, and he will be at the golf event on June 14th with his book. So you can get your book signed. He's an actor, author, amazing person. And then I also, once a month, I do host the Veterans Radio Show, and I'm honored to be able to do that. And I get to interview amazing veterans and entrepreneurs and companies that support veterans. So that's who I am. And thank you all for introducing yourself. And we're going to turn it on over to Dave now. Dave Ray.
All righty. Well, thank you, Shelly.
Thank you.
Let's see. So I hope everybody can hear me okay. Today, we're going to be talking about what is accountability and some different facets of that. And I'd like to start with talking about values. I'm going to put my little timer here on so I can read the time. I think talking about values is really pretty critical when you're talking about accountability, because it talks about what people are committing to and what's important to them, and why the fact that if it's important to them, they're going to want to make sure that they get it done. So I think a lot of times people, they don't really manage their commitments properly. And I think this is because they've never really gotten clear on what their values are. So one of the things that we do in Mind Masters, and I've done over the years, is take a values assessment to figure out what things in life are really important to you. And when you do that, then you can kind of use that as a daily decision tool, like a stoplight. If it supports your decisions, then you go with it. If it doesn't, if it just supports your values, you go with it. If it doesn't support your values, then that's an easy no for some project, or working with people, hiring somebody, working with a particular vendor, bringing on a particular client. That relationship, that endeavor, that project has to really support your values. And if it really doesn't, it's going to cause a lot of problems down the line. And it's better to just avoid it from the beginning. But I think people that are really, they're not intentional with their promises and their commitments. And that's what we have issues with when you're talking about accountability. I think there's three different things. People, they might either try to do too much, they try to do too many promises for either themselves or others, and they kind of overcommit. And then you have like overlapping responsibilities. You either double book yourself, and then you have to maybe cancel out of something, and you've really kind of maybe hurt somebody, or disappointed somebody because you've juggled too many things at once. If you're more intentional on your commitments, then you will really reduce that from having to happen. Secondly, you might get very excited about starting a new project, and you might jump in without really knowing what it's going to take in terms of time, expertise, money, effort, whatever it is. So your commitment and your accountability for committing to completing that commitment, you just don't know what you're getting into because of the excitement. So maybe you're not quite intentional on sort of planning things out first, or researching things before you commit to something. And then third, people might say yes to either a commitment or some sort of a project before they really analyze it to see if it supports their values. Like I was just talking about, if it supports their goals and the things that are important to them as a person, which are also pretty much the same things that are going to be important to them as a business person. So they might, without thinking about it, say yes, not knowing that maybe this particular event, or this particular project or task, or working with this particular person is really kind of counter to their values. And then halfway through the project, they said, this is not for me. And then they have to, bow out either gracefully or ungracefully. But I think those three things cause a lot of problems with people when they're getting the commitment in the first place. And that is what causes the problem with accountability and completing your commitments. So we'll talk here about the different types of levels of accountability. I look at it as 4 different ways. You have accountability to yourself, which really is kind of the weakest level of accountability. It's the one that's easily turned off or stopped or reneged on. Basically, people will let themselves down more often than they'll let anybody else down. And sometimes it's, maybe a factor of their self-esteem, or they feel they're not worth it, or maybe a little bit of imposter syndrome creeping in there. But basically, when you have only yourself as your accountability partner, that is kind of a recipe for, not success, a recipe for disaster. Secondly, you might have some sort of a friend or a peer be your accountability partner, which is really good. That's probably the next strongest level of accountability. Someone that, won't let you give up or won't let you fail is really important. And a lot of times, if you have a really good friend or a really good business associate, they will help you with that. Sometimes they may not want to be too pushy because they don't want to, challenge that relationship or that friendship. And so sometimes it may not be the best idea or best selection for your accountability partner, but that is one step in the progress of finding good accountability partners. But you have to pick someone that will hold you to it, hold your feet to the fire, and make you come through with what you say you want to do. So the third level would be like a coach or a mentor. And this is where it starts getting really powerful, really strong, and you start seeing real success. Whether it's someone that you've paid, like a coach, and there's a financial incentive in there for you to do what they're telling you, and for you to complete your commitments and your projects. Or maybe you have a mentor that was offered to work with you for free, maybe through the Chamber of Commerce or through a business group, and you don't want to let them down. So maybe there's a little element of guilt in there. But either way, guilt or financial incentives are really good ways to make you complete your tasks, complete your goals, and complete your fulfillment on your commitments. Sometimes whatever it takes, whether it's money or guilt or embarrassment, sometimes you need that incentive somewhere. Whatever it takes, whatever it works for you. And again, with a coach or a mentor, that is their they have to be creative, and they have to figure out what it is that's going to make you complete your tasks and assignments from week to week, whether you're working on some year-long project or growing your business or starting up a business. Whatever it is, there's going to be daily and weekly tasks. There's going to be assignments and homework. There's going to be self-development things where you have to maybe read books or take seminars. And if you come back after the first week and he says, "How did you do?" and you say, "Well, I didn't do this, I didn't do that," then he's going to have to figure out, okay, do I need to start yelling at this person? Do I need to make them feel guilty? Do I need to give them some sort of a reward or some sort of a external incentive to complete their tasks? Because I want them to be successful. We have to figure out what it means to them to be successful and how we can get them to reach that. So the last level of accountability type partners would be like a team or a group. And so whether it's a sports team or a military unit or first responders, there's a lot of camaraderie going on, and there's a lot of friendly enticements to be your best. Come in and do the workouts prior to the practice. Hit the gym, do the practicing, whether it's a basketball team, a football team, or for the military units, the training that it's involved in before going on an exercise or an operation. People want to know that you have their back and they have your back, and you don't want anyone in the group to, fail. But it's a camaraderie thing that really helps each other, gives them the incentive and the intrinsic motivation to do that extra work, to come in after hours, to go to the gym, to review the SOP, to do whatever they have to do to study, to get ready for the operation or the event, or even if it's just in a business environment where you're putting on some kind of an event for a client or a training event or a PR opportunity. You want to make sure that you have everything in line, everything's been ordered, everything's been set up, all the speeches have been proofed and written, and they're properly, grammatically correct. You've got all the phone calls have been made, all the people have been invited, and all that stuff has been done, and you have the whole team is counting on you to do your piece so that they don't look bad. And that can be a very, very powerful incentive to help you achieve the success and the goals that you're setting. So I have some factors that I think are important in creating some good accountability and a good accountability plan. 5 or 6 here. Before we talk about them, first, I'd just like to say that many times you are much, much more likely to complete your tasks if you have an accountability partner of some kind, whether it's your peer, your friend, your mentor, your team. That if you're just trying to do it by yourself, you are many, many more times likely to complete your tasks, complete your goals, and have a successful event, successful operation, successful project if you have an accountability plan in place. So first of all, your accountability partner must be someone that's going to be insistent. And again, like I mentioned earlier, whether it's guilting you into completing your tasks or yelling at you or giving you a monetary incentive, giving you a reward at the end of the project. And I'll talk about rewards in a minute again. But whatever it needs, that person has to be creative in finding what's going to be right for you. Secondly, you have to set deadlines, clear deadlines. And as people always talk about, the available work will expand to fit the available time. So what I've come up with recently is an idea that you want to set artificially unrealistic deadlines, artificially short, unrealistic deadlines. So I have a really quick story about that. Towards the end of last year, 2020, I had decided I wanted to pull this old project off the back burner. I was writing a book. It was my first book, or it is my first book. And I was saying, okay, well, I think I want to finish this book sometime in 2021. So in the early part of the year, January, we do our yearly planning. And I said, okay, I want to finish this book by June 30th, at least the first draft, the manuscript, by June 30th. And so as I'm going along through the month of January, I started thinking, well, why do I want to put it off so long? So about the 3rd or 4th week of January, I said, well, I'm just going to finish that manuscript this week. I'm going to give myself a 1-week deadline. And I will say that I actually did it. I worked on it every single night after dinner, and I had it done in 5 days. So now by January, I think it was maybe the 1st or 2nd of February, I actually had that manuscript done. And now I'm already 6 months ahead of my original schedule. So I think sometimes when you set artificially short and quick deadlines, you can see some really interesting results, some really great successes, and set you up for further successes later. Also, when you finally do complete your goal or your task or your project, give yourself a grade. Do a little after action report. How did I do? Could I have done better? What could I have done maybe with less effort or less time or less money? How could I have gotten the same results with less investment? Or where could I have put a little bit more time, a little bit more money in and gotten even better results? Maybe the next time I'll know where I can put in a little extra effort, little extra attention, and come up with a better result so that you're seeing an incremental improvement from this event to the next event. And also by looking at those factors, you can come up with the efficiencies. Where can you start delegating out stuff and pay someone to do something for you so that you don't have to necessarily spend your hours? Get better results with less effort, and figure out where you can economize and where you have to do things yourself, but where you have to figure out the cost-benefit ratio of hiring out and delegating to get better quality results. Lastly, rewards and recognition for your accomplishment. In my groups, we always talk about what are our goals for the month and what are our rewards going to be when we achieve those goals for the month. Little rewards for little events and big rewards for big events. Could be, a weekend away with the family. It could be even just going out to dinner. Could be just a walk along the beach. Maybe when you make your 5 phone calls every day for a week, you're going to take yourself and your spouse out to dinner. Or maybe when you've drunk your gallon of water every day for a week, you're going to spend some time after dinner one night just walking along the beach and watching the sunset. So whatever it is, your subconscious sees this and it says, I like this, I want more of this. And it makes it easier in the next time to complete that next goal or that next task. So my next part is going to be talking about masterminds. And masterminds are really important in terms of, number one, information, and number two, accountability. Some masterminds do have an accountability aspect into their meetings. Some are only information-based. But so the first type would be where you're meeting with other people and you're brainstorming, you're getting ideas, you're getting information, you're getting recommendations. And sometimes it's just getting support. Sometimes it's just getting encouragement that what you want to do is worthwhile. But some masterminds will also include an aspect of accountability partnering. So you make a goal, you make a commitment to that goal, whether it's a weekly goal or a monthly goal, and then you have to report back at the next meeting. Okay, so this is what my goal was, and this is how I did. And maybe you got overcome by events, maybe life happened to you. So we need to figure out, okay, well, if something happened this week, how can we prevent that from happening next week so that you do, in fact, make your goal? And again, that starts being an issue where you have to be creative to figure out what is going to incentivize you to actually say or actually do what you say you want to do. There's different time schedules that some of these different masterminds work on. Some are weekly, like the ones that I run are weekly. Some of them are monthly or quarterly. And, there's differences in the timing, because the ones where you meet weekly, the ones like that I run, we have everybody gets to actually do a brainstorming session every single week. So, the homeowners, the home business owners, the micro business owners, the sole proprietors, they have things happening to them every day, and they need guidance and support and encouragement every single week. So we do that. Some of the other masterminds that maybe only we meet quarterly or monthly, you don't normally get the ability to really brainstorm every week. You might only get in what they call the hot seat. You might only get that once a month or a couple of times a year. So those masterminds are generally better for big project kind of operations, where you're setting up this project, you're needing some guidance and advice on how to set it up, and then you're going to go off and you may not talk about this project for another 6 months in that mastermind. So you kind of be on your own a little bit, but it's good for getting kind of big building block kind of things talked about and initiated. So that's how those types of masterminds would go. But the benefits of being in a mastermind, usually there's some sort of a training topic or a discussion topic at every meeting. It could be the facilitator who's running it does the training, or they could bring in experts and have them talk. But you'll get some really good, valuable information at the meeting on some aspect of business or some aspect of self-development. The second benefit of the mastermind groups is by listening to the other people doing their brainstorming session or doing their question and answer period. Many times you'll find that other people's problems are very similar to your problems. And it's very easy to see how, they got an idea about something that you could actually use in your business. And it's very, very transferable without any real hard thinking. And then the third educational benefit of the masterminds is obviously your brainstorming time, your question and answer period, and you find out different ways to do things, better ways to do things, more efficient ways to do things. You find out about software and apps that are possible. You find out about referrals to providers, maybe a tax accountant or a lawyer or a trademark person that you have been kind of fumbling with, needing to get that information, just didn't know where to turn, but somebody in the group knows somebody, or they know somebody who knows somebody. And you can definitely get referrals right there in the brainstorming session for a very easy name and a phone number right then and there to answer the question that was troubling you all week. So that's one of the best benefits of the masterminds. So I have about 5 minutes left, and my last issue is going to be a little 9-step process to ensure your accountability and achieve your goals. So this follows along with really some of the stuff that I talk about in my meetings and that I've written about in articles in my LinkedIn page and my Facebook page. But here it is. So 9 steps to ensure accountability. Number 1, make sure that whatever your accountability, whatever you're committing to, make sure it aligns with your values. If you set on some task or some trek or journey that down deep, it really doesn't align with your values. Maybe it was suggested by somebody, or whatever, something good idea that you thought, some good idea fairy dropped a bomb on you. If you find out that it really doesn't align with your values, that's going to be very, very difficult to keep going on with it, especially when things get difficult. So that's the first thing. Before you even commit to a process, make sure it aligns with your values. Secondly, number 2, make sure it's important to you. Generally, things do get difficult. People working with people, they don't want to give you the answers. They don't return your phone calls. They don't give you the data that you need. It's going to be taking lots and lots of phone calls, lots and lots of attention to things. Sometimes money will be an issue. Sometimes time will be an issue. If this isn't important to you, it's going to be very easy to just give up midway through the project. Number 3, make sure that you can control the outcome. This is something that we always see in our monthly planning session. People will pick a goal that they have no control over. It relies on other people providing them information. It relies on other people answering questions for them. It relies on other people producing products and services to give to them so that they can make their goal. Make sure that when you frame the wording and the verbiage and the intent of your goal, make it in the form of stuff that you can control. You may not be able to say specifically, I want to earn $3,000 this month, but you can say, I'm going to call 5 warm phone calls a day for the month. And either because of your numbers, that those 5 phone calls a day will give you the $3,000 income, or maybe you're earlier in your career, you don't have those numbers categorized yet, but you'll have to work on those for a while and then get them to the point where you do know what those 5 phone calls will give you. Number 4, set a realistic but aggressive deadline. Like I mentioned about my story about my first manuscript. Sometimes giving yourself a 1 week or a 1 day deadline is just what you need to get kind of off top dead center. Something that's been sitting on the back burner for weeks. Say, okay, I'm going to get that thing done by Friday night, and then I'm going to go out to the movies with my spouse afterwards. So make an aggressive and slightly unrealistic deadline, and you'll see some real good accomplishments. Number 5, get an accountability partner, which we talked about that. A partner or a couple of partners or a team. Get into a group of peers, get into a mastermind group. But whatever you would like to do based on time available and money available, it will absolutely ensure a much higher level of success than trying to just do it all by yourself. Number 6, make a public declaration and of your goal and a due date. Like I say, set a deadline, make a public acclamation to your accountability team, your accountability partner. Make a public statement on your website. Hey, this is Dave's summer 2021 project. I'm going to get my book published by September 30th, whatever it is. And then that will give you a lot of inclination to really work when things get tough, when it's late at night and you have something due in the morning, you don't want to work on it. You know that, well, I told everybody on my website I'm going to get this done, so you're going to get it done. You'll see a huge improvement. Number 7, design a reward for yourself. For when you hit your goal, make it a really great reward that you won't give yourself until and unless you make that goal. My wife is great about doing this. When she has a big project due by the end of the week, she'll say, I can't get my nails done until I get my project done. So she walks in the house on Saturday with her nails done. I know, oh, she made her project. Number 8, meet with your accountability partner regularly. So if you're already in a mastermind group that meets weekly, then there you are. If you have a coach or a mentor, maybe have a check-in phone call. If you meet with them weekly, do like a midweek follow-up phone call, which is one of the things that we do in our groups, my Mind Masters groups that I run. But the more regular you meet, it's the more encouragement and resources that you'll get to make sure that you're working on your project. And then lastly, number 9, give yourself give yourself a reward. So you have to actually give yourself your reward. There's been many times where I've had an accomplishment and I couldn't give myself the reward at the end. And, because of timing or maybe, money might have become an issue or something, but, you have this great reward sitting out in the future when you finish your goal. You have to actually give yourself the reward, because that would be very detrimental to your subconscious if you have this reward out in the end and you don't give it to yourself. Some of my clients have actually done that as well. And I get to them, I say, okay, you've got this reward, you've got to give it yourself, because it's going to, like I mentioned earlier, tell your subconscious, this is a good deal. I like this. I want more of this, and give yourself the motivation to keep doing it the next time. So there we go. Accountability and values and rewards and accountability partners and masterminds. Everything's all kind of interrelated to give you the successes that you're looking for. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast and confuse everybody.
No, you did great, Dave. And actually, we had a couple of questions come in from our online watchers. And I think Renate or Mark, do either of you have feedback or questions for Dave?
No, I never did the reward system. That's a great idea, to reward yourself after an accomplishment. Never thought of that. So
it is critical. It really is. When you get that dopamine rush of buying those Bluetooth headphones that you've been thinking about for weeks, or go to the beach with the kids for the afternoon, or go out to a fancy restaurant with your spouse, and you're telling yourself subconsciously, I did a good job. I'm worth it. I deserve this.
Right.
And again, the subconscious is going to say, I want more of this.
Yeah.
And the next time it's going to be really good to pushing you to completing your next task, your next project.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, great point.
Oh, I love it. I thought you were spot on. I love the key details, the intimate details that you shared that are empowering. We so oftentimes as leaders look at a bigger picture of needs and forecasting and how to manage and lead elements, but the facts that you shared are the on point per person steps to success. When I hear you talk, it makes me want to send you an H5 shirt and say, this guy's beating my drum. This is the way it works. I absolutely
thank you.
Great information. Thank you.
Yeah, no, excellent. And I love the 9 steps too. And I was following along, and I'm in 3 accountability groups, and I have 2 accountability partners, and Mark is one of them.
Oh, good. Yep. So you
Yeah.
know how well it works. You know how the
Yes,
results you can get.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love this.
Oh,
The
go ahead,
statement that
Mark.
goes with that, Dave, is what gets measured gets improved.
Yes,
When we
absolutely.
can measure it, we can be held accountable to it. So it's great.
Absolutely. You have to measure, and you have to measure the right thing. Sometimes people, they don't exactly know what the real thing is that they're measuring. They're kind of measuring the wrong stuff. So sometimes it takes a couple of iterations to really get so that you're actually measuring the right stuff.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm sure was there, maybe I just didn't hear you touch on, was the element. I love all the steps that you go through. They were spot on. Was the element of consequence. When we're setting goals, when we're setting action steps, we need to identify the villain in the scene.
What happens if you don't? What happens if you don't make this goal? Does somebody die? Does somebody lose some money? Does somebody get embarrassed? Does somebody lose their house or their building or their movie theater? If you're at this project, generally there's going to be some consequences, and I didn't mention that, but you're right. That's a really good point. What happens if I fail? Why do I not want to fail? What is the really bad stuff that could possibly happen? And I've got to, get off my keister if I'm, just kind of dilly-dallying on something, and make sure that everything gets done on time, the paperwork gets filed on time, the people get notified on time, everything gets, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And, like they say, it's not over till the fat lady sings. It's not over till you see that deed recorded in the city hall, or it's not done until you've paid off that last bill from your big seminar that you held at that big convention center. So yeah.
And the subconscious traits of leaders is we're always the last to be rewarded. And it's you spoke to that. It's so important, because that penny that we invest for the reward is actually has the ROI of the dollar.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We need those short victories. We're human beings, not only leaders, we're human beings.
Definitely.
Great stuff. Where could somebody go, Dave, to reach you and to sign up for one of your mastermind groups? And
that was one of the questions that came in, by the way.
Okay, absolutely.
Our online audience.
Yes. So I have my Facebook page is Mind Masters South Bay. And that's just 4 words, Mind Masters South Bay. And I guess we're going to put these in the notes when it gets posted.
Definitely. Yep.
And my email address will also be posted in there, davidray58@gmail. And I do have a LinkedIn page where I also post articles and some videos, mostly articles. I put videos on my Facebook page, but it's Dave Aldo Ray on LinkedIn. And you'll see my face here with the Hawaiian shirt on both of those LinkedIn and Facebook pages. That's my kind of thing that I'm known for. I've got 64 Hawaiian shirts now. I just got one for my birthday a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, they're fun, and they put you in a good mood.
Oh, definitely. I love Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah. And we had a couple more questions, Dave, that came in online. So let me kind of share these. So somebody says, I struggle with sticking to my calendar and sometimes overbooking myself. What would you recommend for me to focus on to improve this?
We actually see that a lot in people that we speak with. It has a couple of pieces to it. The first thing is, number one, you have to keep some sort of a scheduling tool visible at all times. So in that respect, sometimes the electronic ones don't work as well as the old-fashioned paper and pencil ones. I have a paper one. I don't know if you can even see it here with the background, but I have this, and I use this. It's sitting right out on the desk with me every day, all day long, and I'm constantly looking at it to see what's coming up in the next hour or so, and what can when can I schedule if I have a phone call with somebody. When am I available tomorrow morning? I've got something going on and I've got maybe free time between 10 and 11. I can squeeze things in, but keeping your planning system out and visible and looking at it all day long is really number one. And I guess number two would be kind of like what I mentioned earlier. Don't necessarily say yes to everything. Be a little bit more judicious. Just because somebody needs, someone to take tickets at the door for the elementary school, musical or something, maybe that's not your strong point. Maybe you have other requirements or commitments. Try to look before you just say yes. Think about, am I the best person to do this? Is there somebody else that could do it maybe better than I could, or whatever, they could do it faster or cheaper than I could? Do I have the time? Do I have the expertise? And do I have the desire to do it? Maybe you'd rather bake cookies in advance and drop them off before the play, and then not have to worry about taking tickets at the door. Whatever it is, but figure out, just be judicious in what you agree to, so that, again, it kind of aligns with your goals and your desires and interests and your values, and just don't say yes to everything.
Those are such great points, Dave, really. And then another person asked, are there, and you just pointed out the calendar, so maybe this is part of it. Are there systems you would recommend for accountability activities?
Okay, accountability activities. Could you maybe, I don't know if the person, what they meant by that. Accountability, I mean like things to help yourself stay accountable, maybe?
Right. And I think that's what they or what they suggested.
Okay. So accountability activities, I would definitely get with some kind of a mastermind group or some sort of a accountability partner. Either if you have a job, maybe somebody that you work with, or if you have a small business, maybe somebody on your staff, or if you don't have anybody, if you're just a sole proprietor, kind of like a lot of us, maybe a business partner that's in the Chamber of Commerce, or maybe in one of your networking groups, and just informally kind of get with them and be each other's accountability partners. And that way you can check in with them every week. You'll probably already seeing them every week, or at least a couple of times a month anyway. So you can already be checking in with them at least once a week, or midweek course correction to see how you're doing. Or join a mastermind group, either like mine, which we meet weekly, or the type that meet monthly. But that gives you the visibility with other people that are looking to help you be successful, and that want you to be able to complete your commitments, and they're happy on the weekly meetings when they hear that you've made your commitments for the week. We always start our meetings with we go around the table, and what is the one achievement or accomplishment that you're proud of for the week? And it doesn't necessarily have to be your committed action step from last week, but sometimes it is. But it gets the meetings off to a really positive start, and everybody really wants to see each other be successful and be profitable, be happy, be enjoying running their business, be sane. And so those types of groups where they're in it to see each other be successful are one of the best environments to put yourself in on a regular basis.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's great. And I just want to remind our online audience, thank you for being here with us. And today you heard David Ray, and he's a veteran. He has been in the Navy, and he served 10 and a half years in the Navy, and then also 18 years in the reserves. And he runs mastermind meetings. And like he had mentioned, we'll make sure that we put all of the details in the notes, in the show notes, so that you can easily get a hold of David. And like he had mentioned, his articles and things that he has out there on LinkedIn, and join his group. I think you said it's a public group, right, Dave?
Yeah, you can follow my Facebook page, like my Facebook page, Mind Masters South Bay, and just look me up on LinkedIn. And I've got on my Facebook page, I've done quite a few Aloha Friday motivation minutes. So the little 1 and 2 minute videos of me various places around San Diego, or right here from the Mind Masters little world headquarters. with my background.
Yeah.
But those you can see and talk about different aspects of running a business. Even over a year ago, before COVID even was a thing, one of my topics was business continuity for a sole proprietor. What happens if you're in the hospital for a week? Who's going to run your business? A lot of sole proprietors never even think about that stuff. So I do different topics every week about just all kinds of aspects about running a business.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you gave such great content today. And it was I mean, there was a lot, and I was taking copious notes, and I
Oh, thank you.
appreciate that. And I love the 9 steps. I mean, that right there, just if you could follow those 9 steps, I mean, that's definitely a recipe for success.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, thank you all for joining us today. I know this will be available for replay, and we had a few people out there that wanted to make sure. I know Deborah Kemp, Deborah Curry. I know they're typically with us, and Michelle Skilgen and some other folks, and our executive director of the Veterans Chamber of Commerce. So we'll tag you in the show notes as well. And we would like to thank our online audience for being here. Thank you, Dave, for speaking today for our monthly Veterans Chamber leadership meeting. Every month we have speakers, and today we had the pleasure of hearing from David Ray. So
thank you so much. This was great. I really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much to Renate and to Mark for being here. We appreciate your support. And we're going to sign off on Facebook, but I know our group's still going to be here. So rewind it and watch from the beginning. There's a lot of great content to those of you that are out there online, and we'll catch you all next month. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.